Hi everyone, Gary Sibs here, and welcome to what will be probably my second to last anti-post bets video, if you like, where we're going to get the rest of the Cheltenham 2021 portfolio polished off. Gonna do one more next week, probably do one more next week when the weights have come out, where I might put a couple in for the handicaps. But in terms of the grade 1 and grade 2s, this is going to be the last video for them. I'm going to be putting quite a few bets up today because I want to get this polished off. I've been trying to get a few bets out for a couple of weeks now. Been umming and ahhing on a couple, but this is it today. Last one for the grade 1s and 2s, and we'll get them out to you now. A good 6 or 7 bets today. In stuff that's coming up, on Thursday this week, there will be a video previewing the Presbury Cup. We've got together a couple of good teams in terms of England and Ireland, or Great Britain and Ireland, where we're going to have a discussion and a bit of fun battling out who's going to win the Presbury Cup and trying to argue our sides. Obviously, from a Great Britain point of view, looking a bit tough at the minute, but I think Great Britain are in with a little bit more of a chance than some have given us. Representing Great Britain will be myself, Josh Stacey, and also Tom from the finishing line. And then representing Ireland will be Andrew Blair-White, Andrew from the finishing line, and also Mark Mackay is jumping on in the Ireland corner. So it should be a good laugh, that. Really looking forward to that one. Look out for that on Thursday night. In terms of all the videos and everything now leading up close to the festival, please do subscribe down below, as you will get notified of any videos that are coming out. We've got a couple of things coming up really close to the festival, and there will be some final selection videos close up as well. If you don't follow me on Twitter, if you can go over there, my handle is below on Twitter. We've got a Cheltenham Festival preview evening with a really good panel on the 13th of March, which is a Saturday night, raising money for the Bob Champion Cancer Trust. You can find all the details on there or on the Facebook page you can see below. Our guest panel includes the likes of Bob Champion himself, Phil Kirby, Sean Quinlan. We've got Andy Holding, the odds checker, tipster on there. Got Emmett Kennedy from Final Furlong, and we've got Andrew Blair-White, and the show will be hosted by myself. So it should be a cracking night, that one, where hopefully we can pull out a few winners for you at the festival. On to the bets. Like I say, a good few to get through, so I'll get straight onto them and straight through them as quick as I can for you, giving you the insights as to why. Most of these bets are in races that I've not yet had a selection. I think there's one cover bet at the end, and I'll go through them as I get to them. Starting with the Supreme, I've not had a bet in the Supreme yet. This horse has been on my radar for a little bit. I do think Appreciate It will get beat in the Supreme. I would fancy him for a Ballymore, but in the Supreme I think he might get done for a turn of foot. Willie Mullins' record in very recent times isn't that good in the Supreme. In the last 5 years, he's had all 5 favourites going into the race and only won it once. 4 of those hot-priced favourites have been beaten in terms of Asterion Falange, Melon, Min and Get a Bird were all beaten, and his only winner was Classical Dream. So he'll be looking to overcome that stat, if you like. You want to be in the top 3 of the betting. However, the favourite in this has only actually won this once in the last decade, but the second and third favourite have won this 7 times in the last decade. So that little niche of second and third favourite is proving very good. And my selection of Metier here is currently sat second favourite, so he's right in the mix. Like I said to you, not been great for Willie Mullins in very recent times, but before that 5-year period, he did have a period of a few years where his record in the race was very good. It's just more recent times that he's kind of dropped away. And there's a few in there that have already come up against Appreciate It, your likes of your Ballyadam and your Blue Lords, and I just don't see any of them overturning the form with him, to be honest. Ballyadam for me doesn't jump good enough when it comes to the crunch point and he's under pressure. I think that's the thoughts of a few people as well. I don't really see what Blue Lord can do to reverse a form with Appreciate It. And that goes for quite a few of the Irish contingents in there. I just don't think they're going to be able to overcome Appreciate It, whereas I think Metier has got what it takes to beat him. His turn of foot when it comes to the end of a race is absolutely superb. He's 3 from 3 over 8 obstacles and has absolutely trumped his field on all 3 starts. He's won by a combined total of 27 lengths, giving you a 9-length win average per race. What's really impressed me, particularly in his last race, he had some good sorts against him in the last race, coming into the race with some good form, and he got to the back of the last, and there was a couple around him, Shake 'em Up Harry and 1 or 2 others, and he absolutely trounced them to the line and really powered away and showed a great engine. And I think that come to the hill at the festival, and I think that'll really come into play and is what could get him the win over the likes of an Appreciated, is his finishing power and his speed. Different tactics were also applied the last day. His first 2 runs he went out from the front and dictated things from the front, but the last day he was sat in about 3rd or 4th position and came through late on, which is what I think they'll try and do in the Supreme, which is good and shows that he doesn't have to lead to win a race. And like I say, he can come late, and once they're over the last, he can power away. He's jumping, like you get with a lot of the novices in his first race, a little bit novice here and there, but in his second and third race has been very good, particularly towards the end of the race where the speed ramps up. He's absolutely winged his hurdles at the end and powered away, which is what you want to be seeing. And he is currently 7-1, and for me, Harry Freya, who has done it at Cheltenham before, he's had a couple of good winners there. I think he's got what it takes to get this guy ready and go out and get a win. 7-1. This is going to be a 3-point win out of my bank. Okay, on to the next race, which is also on the Tuesday, and a race I've been taking a look at for some time is the Mares Hurdle. Concertista, for me, is a very likely winner here. She's in a couple of my doubles and trebles that I've got on, one in particular that's a combination of mares to win that is looking really good, and I'm keeping my fingers crossed for it. But in terms of her price right now, I've got to be taking her on at these prices. I think she's as short as she's going to get. Anti-post, even right now, a lot of these races are going to cut up, and selections, particularly in your novice hurdles, you've got selections going to go here, there and everywhere, and the fields will shorten, and therefore the prices will come in. So a lot of them you can still take the price, like Metier 7-1, that will come in. I'm 90% sure that will come in, which is why I'm taking it. Concertista in the Mares Hurdle, for me, I don't really see this changing very much, because there's nothing up and around her in the Mares Hurdle that is probably going to run elsewhere. Benny Didier is now out, as we all know. So, there's a Roxana in there who I don't think is going to rock up here. I would actually fancy Roxana to run really close in this if she did come here, but I think they quite fancy her to have another crack at the Stayers Hurdle, which, don't know how you really look at that. Can't fault them from having a go, but it's a very hot race, the Stayers Hurdle, whereas if they came here, yeah, it's not 3 miles, but it's up the hill. She get the staying power. She's won this before. I don't know. I think if I owned her, I would maybe be having a crack at this race, but I get the impression they're going to go to the Stayers with her. I've been looking at bigger prices at this. Indefatigable for Phil Kirby was one I was interested in, but didn't run very good the last day, and I do think she'll still like the hill at Cheltenham and could be a danger at a huge price of 100-1. I think she could run a good race for that, and if anything was offering you, see what the field's like, if anything was offering you extra places on the day, that could be a bet, because she will run a better race than she has done today if she goes here. But the one I fell on is a horse that I've followed for quite some time now. Our horse Lady Buttons has ran against her at least once, and that is Indefatigable for Paul Webber. Currently 33-1, and she's got excellent Cheltenham form. Her form this season hasn't been superb, but she was put up to 3 miles and just didn't like the 3 mile trip. The disappointing one is when she then came back down to the 2.5 mile trip. I did expect a better run from her there than what she gave, but I'm quietly confident that once she comes back to the track that she really loves, she'll be back at her best. She won the Martin Pipe last year and has had a couple of seconds and another win before that at the track. So her Cheltenham form is absolutely superb, and you couldn't ask for any better. And at 33-1, it's a bet I'm willing to put on in what is looking like a very wide open race behind the favourite. So that bet is 1 point each way at 33-1, and Indefatigable just a small each way bet. On to my next bet, and that is in the Ballymore Novices Hurdle. This is another one where only 3 from outside, 3 in the last 10 from outside the top 3 of the betting have won. So it's been one right at the top of the betting have won. And again, that is where my selection is. Gerard de Menil is your current favourite in this race. I have concerns about the race that he's just had and how much time Willie Mullins is going to have had to have given him off to get him ready for this. It's very hard running as close as he did to the festival to drop him out of training, give him a rest, and then bring him back in and get him absolutely race fit again. It's not a lot of time, and Willie Mullins did stress this in his post-race interview about how tired he looked after the race. So for me, there's quite a few in here. Your Appreciate It, your Metiers, your Stattlers that are probably going to go to Supremes and Albert Bartlett's. And there's a couple in there as well that are probably going to end up in handicaps. So this race is going to cut up again quite considerably. And my selection for the race is Bob Ollinger. I think this is Henry de Bromhead and Rachel Blackmore's best chance of a winner at the festival, and at 9-2 I'm willing to take that bet because I think that price will come in quite considerably. The selection was beaten on debut by the very highly thought of Fernie Hollow. Ran very close to Fernie Hollow, jumped a little bit novicey late on in the race, and if he jumped those a little bit better, I think he would have ran Fernie Hollow very close, and that says a lot for going up against such a good horse. He's then come out and won twice since, and has jumped absolutely brilliantly for a horse that's clearly going to be a chaser, probably next year, novice chasing. You can sometimes see him giving a bit too much air and wasting a bit too much time at the hurdles. He doesn't. He does get up and over him you can see he's going to be a chaser, but he doesn't waste too much time. He's quite slick, and he's been pretty much flawless in those races. He was stepped up to 2.5 mile as well, which has also proved to be very good for him. And I think that, he looks like an absolute, I wouldn't say a banker because there's obviously a couple of good Brave Man's Games in there and Gerard de Menil, but I mean, this guy just looks top draw to me, absolutely top draw. Ruby Walsh commented on, I don't think it was his last run, I think it was the one before, how much it took Rachel Blackmore to pull him up. He passed the line, he has pricked, and he was away around the corner before Rachel could actually pull him up. And I think he looks like a very good horse. And at 9-2, he's going to be a fairly hefty 5-point win for me. So that's my bet in the Ballymore out. And next we move on to the old RSA, what is now the Brown Advisory Chase, Novices Chase. Excuse me. And I'm going to put up a horse that ran and won for me last weekend when I put him up, and that is Remastered, currently at 18-1. He has come out, and since he has been novice chasing, has been very good and has won a hat-trick of races. The third, as I say, just being last weekend. He made his debut over at Carlisle, and then came out after that and had wind surgery, and then he was stepped up to 3 mile at Wetherby, where he put in a nice sweet performance and took a comfortable win. Then last weekend he ran in the Reynoldstown Novices Chase, and he won very well. What impressed me more than anything was his jumping. I thought his jumping was absolutely a joy to watch. It was brilliant from start to finish, and I think that'll stand him in really good stead here in what is a very open race behind your favourite. We all know how good Monkfish is. I think he's right that people have got him in doubles and trebles. I think he's pretty much a banker. I should have probably actually had a look to see if there was a market for Remastered without Monkfish. But I suppose anything can happen, and we'll take the each way bet 18-1. We're going to go 1.5 points, 1.5 points each way on David Pipes' runner in this. I know there's a few in there. I don't think Latest Exhibition, from what I'm hearing, maybe unlikely to turn up now. He's had a couple of wallopings off Monkfish, maybe don't want another one. Big Breakaway for me is a horse I'm not particularly keen on. His jumping leaves a lot to be desired for me, and I'd rather go with a really slick jumper like Remastered and my selection. So yeah, that's where we are with the RSA. Moving straight on to the Champion Chase. Another one where we've got a horse that I think is pretty much a banker. in Chacun Passoir if he gets there okay, which he should do. I've been this horse's. I've taught this horse up for quite some time now. I don't get anybody crabbing him in any way, shape or form. I think he's an absolute superstar, and even if Altior was back to his very best, I don't think he'd beat him. That said, I don't think Altior will be back to his best. I think we've probably seen the best of him, unfortunately, and anybody backing him at the price of, I think he's around 8-1. I think you're probably following your heart more than anything else, and I can't blame you for that because we've all done it. I've done it myself, and Altior's a horse I love, and you really have to forget about that heart pulling on them strings to get your head in the game and bet what is sensible, or what you think is sensible anyway. Chacun is a bit short to be putting any money on as in terms of a anti-post bet, and the two that I liked are one that I'm not going to be taking is Nube Negra. I did like his run last time. I don't like hearing people say, well, Altior wasn't at his game or whatever. It was a very, very good run by Nube Negra, set a good time, or a decent time, not a good time, I say a decent time, and he's a very progressive horse. Dan Skelton thinks a hell of a lot of him, and he thinks nothing will be able to run him into the ground, and if he's there and thereabouts turning for home, he quite fancies his chances, and I like that sort of progressive horse. Politolog for me is one that will only win this if 3 or 4 of them end up pulled out. I've always said this about Politolog. He'll win the races when nobody else turns up, and that's the way it is for me with Politolog. I don't see him as an out-and-out Grade 1 winner. I think he's like a second, third, fourth place in Grade 1s. I think he got very fortunate last year in Altior and Chacun being pulled out and definitely not running his race. And I think First Floor, who is my selection in this race, really put him to the sword last time, and I really liked how he ran. Currently best priced around 14-1, I think, and each way value for this race, I think he's a bit of a forgotten horse. I think everybody's writing him off, saying it was a one-off or because it's not right-handed. I think he'll run his race here. He's won his last 6. You cannot knock what he's doing. I actually put him up in a WhatsApp group that I'm in about 2 hours before his last race. I put him up to him at 100-1, told him that he'll run a big race in this, and that 100-1 will sharp be very quickly gone, and sure enough it was. Managed to thankfully get a few quid on myself at the 100-1, but even at current price of 14-1, I still think he's a bet, and I think he's a very, very likely place horse in this, and if anything was to happen to Chacun Passoir, I think he'd be up there with a chance of winning it. I can't say Politolog reversing the form with him. I just think he was too good for him. Nube Negra, like I say, was my other one I looked out for, and I was quite impressed with So Royale last weekend. I think depending on how the race was ran, I think he could be in with a chance, also at 14-1. But the thing is with So Royale, I think the pace will be too quick for him, and I think his race will be beaten before he gets to the turn of foot, which he is quite good with. Again, 1.5 points each way. My selection in this at 14-1 is First Floor. Now these two are kind of cover bets at the end. One's not a cover bet because I don't have a selection, but it's a horse that I don't think is going to run. It's in the Mare's Chase, and I think we've all seen interviews with Henry de Bromhead, etc., where Put the Kettle On is probably 90% likely to go for the Champion Chase we've just spoke about. I don't actually fancy her in the Champion Chase. I don't give her a chance in it. But if they were to change their mind for whatever reason and come to the Mare's Chase, I think she'd have an absolute cracking chance. And she's actually 11-2, non-runner money back. So non-runner money back 11-2. I'm willing to put 3 points on her because if she does come here, I think she's a very, very likely winner. But just simply because I don't reckon much to the race or to what's in the race. I think this Mare's Chase was a good idea, but I think it's going to take a few years to build it up and actually become a good race in years to come. But right now, I know what they're saying. People do change their minds in where horses are going to run, and he didn't say it was definite. He did say he still had to speak to the owners, but he just thought that she would end up in the Champion Chase. But I'm going to put 3 points on non-runner money back in case she turns up here, and that is Put the Kettle On for the Mare's Chase at 11-2. And the final bet, like I say, we've had a few today, but the final bet is one that I just couldn't leave it alone. It's another one that's probably not going to run, according to what everybody's saying. I haven't actually seen anything from connections. But the more you look at it, I leaned over in the bumper. She would, for me, she'd win this because of it. I think she's an absolute cracking horse, and the weight allowance she's getting, because she's a 4-year-old and she's a mare, she will be carrying 10 stone 3 against the boys carrying 11 stone 5. That is a £16 1 stone 2 pull, and I just think that would give her an absolute outstanding chance of winning this. And she's 8-1 non-runner, no bet. So again, like the last race, I'm willing to take a stab on her, because if she doesn't turn up, we get our money back. So I would. I'm going to put another 3 points out on her at 8-1 non-runner, no bet. She won her last race in superb fashion. Willie Mullins had the Grand G as probably his first race sent over here since first runner sent over here since lockdown. Hot price favourite, I think Grand G was in that race, and she absolutely hammered the lot of them. It was superb to watch, and I don't know if it's just because she's a 4-year-old or what, but they don't seem. The rumours are that she's not going to be going to Cheltenham. It's another one where I'm going to put a bet on in case they change their minds and turn up. I don't really understand why they won't with that weight allowance, because I think it would put her really right up there in good stead. Okay, so that's the end of the Grade 1 and Grade 2 bets. Like I say, when the weights come out next week, I might be back with a few handicap picks. I found the handicaps quite tough this year, not knowing the weights. I took a couple of stabs in the past, and they haven't really proved too good for me. I've ended up with them just running out of places and whatever. But I am going to be looking between now and then at the handicaps, and if anything pops up, I might be back with 1 or 2 for you. But that sort of completes the main bulk of the Anti-Post Pro portfolio. We will be back on Tuesday with that Presbury Cup video, which is going to be very good, I think. And yeah, if you get on these bets, good luck to you. I know it's Tuesday, and Up in the Ante will be out soon. Probably even be out while I'm recording this. And Off the Fence is also out, isn't it, today? So if you get a chance to watch this one as well, thanks very much. Your comments and subscriptions and likes are always appreciated, and if you get on the bets, good luck to you, and hopefully we can make some profit. On to the portfolio. Here we are with what we've got so far. We've had a couple of runners this week. One's been very good, one's been very bad in effect, really. Main Fact in the Stayers has drifted right out after his disappointment at the weekend. To be honest, I'd half written him off. The only thing that gave me a glimmer of hope was what David Piper had said after the last race, but yeah, it doesn't look like he's going to be winning any Stayers hurdle anytime soon. Couple that have come in ever so slightly. Royal Pagile has come in at ever so little bit more for the National Hunt. Still not sure where he's going to go. Is he going to end up with that Gold Cup entry? Energamine is still at 5-2 for the Arkle. Goshen is the big mover in the week with his very good run down at Warwick at the weekend. He's now in as close as 4-1. I do think 4-1's a little bit of an overreaction, if I'm honest. I think around the 8-1, I think he should be about now, after what he's done. But it was certainly a joy to watch, and really glad that he can throw his hat into the mix for the Champion Hurdle. He was absolutely sublime in that triumph last year, and he is a very good horse. That is for sure, and I've said that all along. Fury Road is now looking like not running at the festival, which is a shame. He was my cover bet for Main Fact, and it looks like my Stays Hurdle is looking disastrous now, so we'll have to write that one off and find something better for our final picks. And a couple that have come in, we've got Barbados Bucks has come in ever so slightly. That shouldn't say 12-2. He was 12-1 when I put him up, and he's 11-1 now. And we've got Fakido Duri has drifted in ever so slightly, 12-1 to 11-1. Royal Pagile for the Gold Cup is in ever so slightly from the last week. I think that's a drift in slightly. I'm sure it is into 8-1. I think he was 9-1 last week. So yeah, I think he has come in ever so slightly. And then at the bottom there you can see this week's selections. So that is where we are with our bets. Fingers crossed they can make us some profit, and we'll speak to you all soon. Thanks very much for watching. Cheers.